Thanks for staying tuned to the People's Daily. The program is still The Profit Point right here on Ogtv, and this is the business review segment where we are going to be discussing a very, very important topic to your business. And of course, when you adhere to some of the things we are going to be talking about, you will definitely be able to grow your business and also compete favorably with the best in the market. Our focus on the segment this morning is business ethics and law. Yes, the legal angle, to your business. Now, so many persons in this part of the world do not pay attention to this aspect of their business. It's very important, but most persons do not pay attention to it, and then they have themselves to blame later. That is why we are discussing it. We want you to pay attention to it because it is important. It is integral to your business growth. And that's why we are discussing it. And we have in the studio to discuss this OLATOYE ADEJOLA. He is a legal practitioner. It's a pleasure having you join us this morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir. Now, let us look at the impact of laws, regulations, judicial decisions, really, on our environment. Let us start from the general environment. What's the role of laws, regulations, and judicial decisions really on our environment? Let us begin from there.
Thank you very much. Basically, it takes someone who does not possess one thing to appreciate that thing better. So let's look at a situation where there's no law. How would society be where there's no law? If we come from that perspective, then we understand better the role that the law will play in that society. In a society without a legal framework, then it will be a jungle justice system. That will be an animal kingdom, the survival of the fittest, where people will do what they like. Somebody can just bash into this place and say, this place belongs to my father, I have acquired this, everybody should go out. So everybody will behave, there will not be any standard for behavior. So basically, law regulates the society. It gives us the minimum standard that is expected of every living being on earth. So the essence of law is to protect our rights and the liberty of the people living in the society. So basically, what law tries to do in the society is to make the society a sane society for the living, to ensure there's decorum, to ensure people's rights are protected, people's liberty are not infringed upon. So that is the essence of law in the society.
Now, let us now look at our topic for today. Let us look at the role of law in business ownership and management. What role does law play, in business ownership and management of our business?
Thank you very much. When it comes to business ownership and management, the impact or the role that law has to play cannot be overemphasized. Today, you see people going into businesses without having requisite legal implication or legal rudiments of the business they are trying to go into. There are so many aspects of business. You can go into business, you have the idea, you know what you want to do, but despite that, you need to go further to find out what is the legal framework that administers this kind of business that I want to do. Is it a legal business? Is this what is the law that's regulating this particular business? That's number one. Number two, you see people going into business, particularly going into partnership or having other members of that business without determining what is our modus operandi before they go into the business. They get into the midway, there's crisis. That is why in this climb, hardly will you see people forming partnership and progress for a very long time. Within the first 3, 4, 5 years, you see them having crisis. Because at the inception, at the formation of such businesses, they don't sit down to dictate the terms, the conditions, the paraphernalia of the business they want to go into. So it is very important. I tell people, if you want to go into a business, good, fine, ensure. You see, in law, we have a slogan for lawyers. You see, what a lawyer they do, self. But the fact that you know does not mean you will not need the service of a lawyer before you go in. Just for an instance, about 2 days ago, a childhood friend of mine just called me that he was given a contract of employment in one organization to be supplying them. And he said that it will send the contract of employment to me to read, and probably if I have comments. When I read through that document, behold, the document was like a death trap. And I told him.
And he did not see those things.
He did not see those things. And I told him, thank God you have not even signed this contract. And I began to pinpoint those areas that he needs to look at. And I told him, go back to them, discuss about these gray areas, agree on those things, that you can now come back, fine tune, you take it back to them to renegotiate. So what we are saying is, we can't take the legal framework away from any business that want to be successful and that want to have a future, that want to live beyond the proprietors of those businesses. You have to determine, before we go into this business, you see, that is why some people, it is because of the pessimists that we have the parachute. The optimist will say, okay, we want to go to America, how do we get there? Let us build an aeroplane. The pessimist will look at it, this aeroplane will crash one day. They will not protect or prevent or circumspect how, even if when those plane crashes, how do we now protect ourselves? So if you want to start a business, you must know that this business will have problem. Partners will have crisis. One day the business will want to collapse. One day the business will want to die. So all those things, you will have factored them before you even engage in such business at all. This is what I'm going into. If this happens, what do we do? If this happens, how do we tackle it? If this happens, how do we go about it? All these are the role the laws and the lawyers will play in business ownership and management. And apart from that, the lawyers, the law will regulate the business. So so many instances on that. Take for instance, on social media these days, you see people advertising their product on social media. At the end of the day, if you order for those products, what you get will be totally different from what you see
or they advertise.
That is misrepresentation. It can put that business person, the seller, into a serious problem because you are misrepresenting a fact of that product to the buyer. I fell victim of one just about 6 months ago. I just dared to look the other side. Look at what I bargained for is not what was sent to me. So these are little implications. If you want to make advertisement, you must ensure that what you are telling the public, the information you are selling out to the public corresponds to the actual product that you are trying to sell to them. Then your employee that are working with you, there are laws that will guide you and your employee. They have their own rights under the law. There's labor act that protect their interests. If you infringe on their rights, they can sue you, and the business, the company may pay dearly for it, and that may even be the end of that company at the end of the day. So law will regulate the company itself, its members, whether they are partners or stakeholders or shareholders in the business. The law will regulate their affairs. The law will regulate the business and the workers, who are the employees now. The law will regulate the business and the customers, the consumers of those products. The law will regulate it. The law will regulate the business and the government. You have to pay tax at the end of the day. At the end of the year, you pay tax. Some businesses, they have a way of they have about three different accounts, book of accounts. One to the public, one to the government, one to the shareholders. All these unethical practices by the company, by the business owners, you see, because their own is to make profit, and at all costs they want to make that profit. They don't want to bother whose ox is God. Their own is just, we must survive, we must make profit. But by the time that's why we advise that all business owners must have a legal department that will be guiding them, right? In banks, apart from the legal department, they always have this control department, who like the police officers. The control officers and the operation officers are not always friends, but the control officer will want the operation to ensure that they do the needful, they do the right thing. Meanwhile, The marketers will want more robust money to their own account. So each of them will now be a watchdog on the other. So that is why in a business environment, there should be a legal department that will be checkmating you. Don't do this. This is, if you do this, this can be the consequence. If you do this, this could be the legal implication. Or at best, what they can do, if they don't have a private legal practitioner that will be they will be consulting from time to time to determine the legality of whatever businesses or the dealings of their businesses. So
as we progress in the conversation, we'll also touch on that and look at how expensive really is it to set up a legal department in your establishment, or to have a legal practitioner that you'll be consulting with, to guide you and put you right in your dealings. Let us look at the basic for the now. Let us look at the basic legal how do I put the basic things that must be done really for you to, when you are about to establish your business, when you are floating your business, what are the basic legal things that must be done really to set you aright? Let us look at that.
The basic things legally that need to be done, the first thing is you have the idea that you want to do a business, you form a name, you contact the Corporate Affairs Commission for research. You research to ensure that the name, no person or no one has formed a company or a business using that particular name that you want to use. So by the time they conduct research and the name you have chosen is okay, you go for registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission. That is the first legal step that makes a business, an entity. So you register with CAC, whether it's a sole proprietorship, whether it's a partnership, whether it's whatever form of business you want to do, you register with the CAC. Then apart from that, there are some legal documentation that need to be done. Take for instance, if you want to go into partnership, probably two or more want to go into a business, you have to enter into what we call partnership deed. Determine what capital, what share capital am I bringing into this business? How much am I bringing? How much are you? What is the ratio that we are bringing? Who among us will be, for instance, we have dormant partner, we have active partners. Someone may be working elsewhere. Probably you are working here now. You have money, you want to invest. If a colleague of yours or a friend of yours has the time, he doesn't have money, but you have the money, you call him. Paddy, let's just do this business now. It's making money now. I have this amount of money. You are not doing anything. You put the idea together. You own the idea, you own the money. He doesn't own anything, but he has the time. So now you now put the resources together. I am giving out this amount. You are giving out your time. For the time you are giving out, what are you getting? For the money I am putting down, what am I getting? All those things will be determined. Now, if there is conflict between us in future, how do we resolve? What is the mediation process that we are going to adopt in case there is conflict in future? Now, apart from that, now if at the time we get to the business, we make profits, how do we share our profits in the business? If you want to wind up this business, we are not doing this business again, how do we determine our assets? How do we share our assets? If peradventure I die, our life is in God's hand. If we die tomorrow, what will become my own share of that business? Who will take over? So all these things has to be put down in paper and pen,
black and white,
signed by both parties. And that is why that is sanctity of contract. Immediately you sign a document, a legal document, it becomes binding on those that have signed. So these are those documentation that are necessary before a business is formed. Basically, that is for partnership. If it is a sole proprietorship, that is less formal. You don't have much to do. Immediately you register with the CAC. The legal rudiment is not that much. But if on the other hand, it is a company that you want to form, probably limited, or it is more than one, and it is not partnership, then if there is need to get license from the government, to get license from that particular, take for instance, you want to establish a school. Now, so you get the license from the Ministry of Education through the CDO for approval. So you may need a lawyer to do all those things for you. because they will request, what is your mission statement? What is your vision statement? There are some things that you need a legal practitioner to help you put flavor into. You may think this thing I can do on my own, but by the time you consult a lawyer, some flavors will be added to those things. Like my father, I said the other time, I asked him, now they want to give you this contract. You are very happy that it's a huge contract, but they did not say that if they want to terminate the contract, what will happen if they terminate this contract? The clause of termination is not in the contract agreement, and these people are Indian. So
and they must have done that deliberately.
Deliberately, they can just terminate your appointment. They are just coming into the country. They need customers. They need clients. So they just woo him to get clients for them. That whatever clients you bring, will give you 2% commission on whatever income you get for us. And this agreement will be renewable every year, and they keep silent on that. If after 3-4 years he has given them more customers, they can just say, okay, friend, thank you very much. That's the end of our business. You can go. And that's out. So legal aspect of business cannot be overlooked. It is very, very important. It is key to the success of every business anywhere in the world, not only in Nigeria.
Now let's look at how expensive really is it to either set up a business, a legal department, or to consult a lawyer for all of these things that you have talked about.
You see, the normal saying that if you say education is too expensive, they will tell you, try ignorance. There is no amount that will be too expensive to manage a legal department or hire a private practitioner to at least assist you in putting legal perspective to your business. When we are talking of how much or what is the cost implication, depends on the size of the business. Depends on the size of the business. Like, you see, I tell people, sometimes it is not the cost or the amount we are paying on a service that is important. It is, number one, the knowledge. Because most of those things, people enter into them ignorantly. Yeah. They want to know. So the first thing is the knowledge that this thing is necessary. Then the second thing is the seal, the preparation to do it. I tell people, if you come to me as a lawyer to seek for guidance, you don't know, and you want to know, I can give you that information free of charge. Because what you seek is wisdom. What you want is, you want knowledge. But if you are taking some steps, you now come back after realizing your foolishness. You now come back and say, yeah, lawyer, come, I have this case, so you don't narrate the whole thing. It is then I will not tell you, because such person has dared you before. He has believed that he knows it. He has believed that there's nothing you want to offer. So that is just it. If you have a legal department, it may not be more than 1-2 lawyers in the department, and you'll be on your payroll. But if the business is not that buoyant, it's not that enlarged to that extent, you can just get a private legal practitioner, and you probably you have retainership with them, probably on a quarterly basis, biannual or annually. You make arrangements on how you're going to pay them, and this money is not that much. But what is important is it is very, very necessary for any business owner, at least to have a lawyer or a legal department to guide, direct him. You see, that is why in this country, most businesses, it is because we don't know our rights. If we had known our rights in this country, some businesses would have collapsed. But because, like the one I said the other time, I just look away. Because if they do something to us, we just say, okay, let's just allow it to go. But if everyone...
What really can we do to make people come to know their... it's not just all about also knowing their rights. It's also all about how to go about fighting for these rights. How do we ensure that people we get to that level as a nation? You are one of the millions of people who are falling victim, of
you see,
such circumstance.
That is a long journey thing in this country.
It's going to be a long walk.
A long walk. Take, for instance, let me give this example. We have laws, we have Labor Act that protect employee. So many laws that are promulgated to protect the interests of the workers. Today, casualization in companies, organizations does not stop. Why? Those people can enforce their rights, but there's no job. So the employer are taking undue advantage of the surplusage in the labor market to extort the laborers. So that is, there are so many factors. You see people working in the bank, they are casual workers. They are casual workers. And the law frowned at all these things. But because of the environment we still find ourselves, people will just accept the fate. So that is just it. But if you want to fight those rights, it takes a lot. One, the judicial system is, you may start a fight today, the fight may not end in the next 5 years. If you will have even tired. You will now be asking yourself, why am I even fighting for this thing? What is the essence of fighting for this?
You would have spent more than what
you lost.
More than
what you lost. At the end of the day, you get your judgment now. They even say, okay, you have the right. The right is protected. We have award damages for you to this tune of million. The second question is, how do we get this money? How do we get the judgment enforced? So that is why people will just, at the end of the day, accept to their fates. And
we must thank you so much, Barrister OLATOYE ADEJOLA, for your time with us this morning. You have said a lot, and I'm so sure that business owners will be able to take advantage of lawyers and then also pay so much of attention on the legal perspectives to their business. I mean, you said something that it's not all about starting a business, it's also all about ensuring that this business survives and then even outlives the proprietors. And one thing that can help you assure that, or help us to assure that, or ensure that, is when we put in place the business, the law perspectives to this business. We thank you so much for your time with us. Well, we also want to thank you so much for your time. That's the size of the program, The Profit Point, on the People's Telly Ogtv. Next week is going to be another time when we are going to be discussing another topic that will help you grow your business, and of course another business idea that you can invest in. My name is Dominic Agbeha, saying you should have a wonderful day, and of course keep believing in yourself and keep doing what is right.